We're going to get started. Most of you know me, but if you haven't seen me before, I'm Dr. Peter Fu. I mostly go by Dr. K. I'd like to thank the ECON Club for hosting this event. And as well, a special thank you to alumni engagement, Michelle Hansen. If you can give us some hands. Also, Professor Johnny Pelladino, who is there in the support of this program as well. So with that, I'd like to pass it to Dr. Siriani to say a few words about the panel.
Thanks, Dr. K. What a great turnout here. Hi to our panelists. For those that don't know me, my name is Philip Siriani. I am the chair of the economics department. This is the first session, first panel of the second year of the Life After Graduation series here at SUNY Oneonta. Last year we did 6 panels with 4 students in each, so 24 recent alumni came back to get some questions from the economics club and also from the audience. So I encourage everybody to participate here. It's a great opportunity to speak with some recent alumni, and we're really looking forward to hearing from them. It's good to see you all. Is this our camera here? Right here? So I think rather than me like reading bios, how about we just have the panelists introduce themselves. So we'll start with Francesca.
Hi, I'm Francesca. I graduated in 2020 and I'm a financial analyst at Xenia, which is a men's fashion brand.
All right, good to see you, Francesca.
Nice to meet you.
Next is Jessica Sinopoli, who is back with us here. Was just on campus on Friday and gave a nice speech on behalf of the Alumni Association at our new president's inauguration on Friday. So Jessica.
Hi, yeah, my name is Jessica Sinopoli. I'm a financial advisor with Gretchen Meyer Financial, which is an investment firm, essentially just to help women gain financial independence.
Great, welcome back and thanks for staying connected. Our third panelist, we're kind of scrambling a little bit today because the person who was on the poster, Aaron Byrne, who is going to be with us tonight, had a flight that was canceled and was unable to join us tonight. But I think it's kind of a testament to the to our strong alumni network that we're able to, on short notice, have Tom Leahy join us tonight. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm a little bit of an eternal college student, but I'll be attending the University of Michigan this coming spring for actually something a little bit different, industrial engineering, looking to do operations research and analytics.
Great, congratulations on your acceptance, Tom. And
Thank you.
Last but not least is Adam Rosner. Hi, Adam.
Hello. Hey. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good evening. I'm Adam. I graduated from Oneonta in 2018. And since graduating, I've spent some time in the accounting world. I've spent some time abroad in Asia, and I've spent some time back at school getting a master's degree. So I'm eager to hear your guys' questions and hope I could give some good advice.
All right, thanks, Adam. And thanks to all of the panelists for joining us tonight. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the Economics Club and the Economics Club President, Logan Conti.
Hi, I'm Logan Conti. I'm the President of the Economics Club. I'm going to quickly introduce my leader. So here's Justin.
I'm Justin Amazon and the Secretary of the ECON, Vice President.
I'm Davis. I'm the Treasurer of the ECON.
Hi, I'm Deja Harrigan. I'm PR of the ECON Club.
Okay, so first we're going to start with a formal session. So each of us are going to ask questions to the panelists. I will begin with Francesca's questions, followed by Justin asking Tom's questions, then followed by Deja asking, Justin asking Jessica's questions, Deja asking Tom's questions, and Noah asking Adam's questions. After all these questions are asked, we're going to ask some general questions to each panelist and go in the same order. And then once the general questions are up, we'll ask the audience the Q&A questions. So you guys have any questions for the panelists, you can ask them during that time. Now they're around 8:40. So now we'll begin with the questions that we have for each panelist, starting with Francesca. So the first question is, what courses do you find best prepared you for after college?
So the courses that I found helped me the best were any course that had to relate to the real world. So my favorite being Fed Challenge. I think courses like that, you really got to see just how, like, what you were doing in school, how it really mattered. It wasn't just throwing numbers and it was just like looking at a worksheet. You actually got to see how it pertained to the real world. And personally, classes like that has helped me in interviews, and they've always been very successful for me in the end.
Thank you very much. And Jessica, how do you maintain a sustainable work-life balance and advocate for yourself in an entry-level position?
Yeah, so I think this is a really important question. I find that a lot of individuals, especially fresh out of college, feel like, they kind of have to prove their worth. And that's true to a certain degree, in an entry-level position. But I find that any individual who, has a good mindset, works very hard, brings a good attitude to work, has worth in itself. And because of that, you shouldn't be afraid to advocate for yourself in an entry-level position. Any company worth its salt, will appreciate that and respect any boundaries that you want to set to maintain the lifestyle that you want.
Great. The next question is for Tom. Tom, what was the process of getting into the University of Michigan for the MS in Industrial and Operations Engineering? And what do you hope to do once you complete the program?
The process wasn't too difficult. Similar to any graduate program, the big part was to strengthen my math background. So I did leave Oneonta with a little bit of a deficient math background, but it wasn't too difficult. You need just a statement of purpose, keep in touch with your professors, know them well, because you would like them to write you strong recommendations. And I was fortunate that Dr. Bauer and Dr. Kitisu were able to write me recommendations that allowed me to attend. As for what I would like to do with it once I've completed the program, it's part of my next program or question, but I'm a member of the Air National Guard, and what we have is this subset of individuals that do operations research that model collection efforts. So the US government's obviously collecting on a lot of different entities, intelligence-wise. And so what they do is they model these collections and look for deficiencies or inefficiencies within the collection effort. It's a whole subset within the Air Force, but there's also a civilian counterpart that works for agencies such as the NSA and CIA doing this, doing operations research. So that's the goal. Any advice? Well, the big advice is to approach it with knowing what you want to do. The statement of purpose is a huge part. So you don't want to be sending an application with just the hopes of getting in. You want to prove to whom you're applying to that you have a purpose and a reason for going. Another piece of advice that I've already mentioned is stay in touch with your professors. There's a little bit, I'm pretty poor at keeping in touch with people in general, but stay in touch with them, get to know your professors, because ultimately they will be writing your recommendations.
Very insightful, thank you. Next question is for Adam. How has Oneonta prepared you for professional life?
Yeah, so I was a business econ major at Oneonta, and the courses I took prepared me very well to succeed in a professional environment. Since I graduated, no one has formally asked me about the effects of changing interest rates, Hofstade's dimensions theory, or the requirements of a contract. But those topics, along with all the information I learned at Oneonta, really helped me navigate the business world and analyze situations and problems. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is pay attention because your courses will shape you into a well-rounded business professional.
Thank you. Next question for Francesca. How do you know what career or industry you wanted to pursue after college?
So I didn't know. And I think that's just something that's most people think when they get out of college, they have to know exactly what they want to do, exactly everything that their path has to be planned out for them. And that's how I originally thought. But all I knew is what I didn't want to do. So I knew I didn't want to be in the finance world, meaning like I didn't want to work for like a JP Morgan or any sort of corporate bank. I wanted to do more analytics and I didn't want to do more accounting. So I knew things that I didn't want to do and things I did want to do and just kind of figured it out towards that. So I knew I liked fashion. I wanted to go in something along those lines. I knew I liked sports. So it was like maybe something sports related. I knew I liked tech. So tech, I just knew what I didn't want to do, but I didn't have an exact path. And I think no one does. And everyone might think that people have it figured out, but no one really has it figured out at all. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't realize when they leave college is thought I was the only one that didn't have it planned, but that's just, no one does. No one has it planned. And that's what I thought. That's how I kind of figured out the way I went.
Very comforting to know. Next question for Jessica is, how do you create a sustainable network that doesn't disappear from job to job?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to emphasize that it's most likely, and I think many of the panelists on here can agree, your first job out of college will not be your last. And, you're going to have many different jobs throughout your career, and that's something to look forward to. That being said, something that some of our panelists mentioned earlier, networking is incredibly important, and making sure, you're genuine in your connections and you make sure those connections are long lasting will get you through every job that you'll ever have and every career that you'll ever had. Because I know myself included and many of the panelists here, I've gotten my job through the connections that I've had. And I can thank them very much for that. And I can continue to rely on them in the future. It's really important, throughout each networking connection that it's not transactional. Every person you meet, is a potential lifelong relationship and is something that you should treat very genuinely. You should not view it as what can this person do for me, but rather, how can I make this relationship long lasting? And, a couple quick points on that is, get to know them personally. What is their interest outside of their occupation? If I went up to an individual and the first thing I told them was, I'm a financial advisor, they're going to automatically assume I'm going to try to sell them something. So definitely don't go in that direction first and foremost, but really just be genuine about learning more about a person, be inquisitive, and people really react well to that. The more they open up, the better relationship you'll be able to build with them and further that connection and so on and so forth.
So true, Jessica. Next question for Tom. I know you touched on this earlier, but why did you decide to go to the United States Air Force, and what skills have you learned over the years?
Well, Fran said that you don't always have your life planned out. I certainly haven't. So it was kind of not really a random decision, but when I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was coerced into the Air National Guard. Fortunately enough, I had individuals around me who gave me some good advice going in and what field to go into in the intelligence field. And it's been a lot of fun since then. As for skills that I've learned, well, there's a lot of beneficial things that I've learned, a lot of analytic tradecraft, how to process intelligence that's going to benefit me later on. A little bit unsure on more broad skills outside. The Air Force has its own unique way of working, and the intelligence community especially does. I guess that answers the question. I'm sorry.
It does, thank you. Next question is for Adam. How did your experience as an English lecturer in Thailand affect your current day-to-day? And what was your favorite thing about the experience?
My day-to-day involved being in front of a classroom for about 3 hours, and the rest of my day was spent being an on-campus resource for students looking to engage one-on-one with a native English speaker. Tourism is a huge industry in Thailand, so many students who wanted to work in the tourism or hospitality industry after graduation would come to my office, and we would talk, and they would improve their skills and their confidence. And my favorite part about living in Thailand was the laid-back lifestyle.
Next question for Francesca is, how was the transition from the accounting internship to financial analysis? How did you decide to stay with financial analysis?
Yeah, so like I said before, I had no clue what I wanted to do. So any opportunity for any sort of internship, I just took just so I can learn. Because if anything, like I learned what I didn't want to do. And that was helpful at the end of the day. So when I had my accounting internship, which is at a nursing home, I realized that was just not for me. I wasn't interested at all in the topic or in it, the industry. And then when I had my internship at ABM, I would never think that I would love a janitorial service company, but I did. I loved everything about the company. I loved what we were doing, and I loved the forecasting and budgeting behind it. So that made me want to go into it a little more depth. And during my internship, they told me that data analytics is very important for that. So that's what led me to study data analytics in grad school. And yeah, so right after grad school, I just got my first job out of college, and it would happen to be a financial analyst. And that was, everything just kind of fell into place in that point.
Thank you, a very interesting transition. And now for Jessica, kind of a two-part question. What are the day-to-day responsibilities as a financial consultant? And how did you get into the field from your previous job? And are you a financial literacy advocate who give us some financial freedom and literary?
Yeah, so loaded question. As a financial consultant, my days vary widely, which is something very exciting about being in this industry. My days could be, full of client appointments where, unlike Adam, I do talk a lot about rising interest rates, or talking about, an individual's finances, things that we're working towards together as a team, a client and a financial advisor working on their goals, budgeting, saving, paying down debt, whatever it might be. Of course, investing is an element of that as well. It could be going to networking events. It could be strategizing with my team of advisors about, what do we want our financial planning to look like in the future, and so on. So it really is its own business, essentially. When you have a financial advising practice, it's like you're managing your own business. So you do a lot of everything, essentially. In regards to how I got into the business, I actually became part of the financial advising space while I was still in college. I had a financial planning internship my summer before I graduated, and I just kind of fell into it. I loved it. I got the internship through a connection I made at Oneonta, and shout out to my friend Marlea, if anyone knows her. And from there, really, I just, like I said, I ended up loving it. I stayed in the industry, and right now I specialize in helping women with their finances. And that was not answering the question fully. So continuing from there, in regards to any advice, financial literacy or otherwise, so I can't really get too specific here because the SEC might end up knocking on my door. So I will be very broad, and I'll just say, time is your most valuable commodity. If you feel like you are too busy to start either investing or saving or paying down your debt, you will never have time in the future. So start now. It's so important to, really just be invigorated, be ambitious on that front, and just start with your goals today. You don't need to wait any longer, and make a budget. The easiest budget you can do is 50% towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, 20% towards savings. That's an easy piece of budget you can start out with, and it's a great way to start saving and looking towards the future.
Thank you, Jessica. Tom, what is something you wish you had known upon graduation that you know now?
kind of wish I had a better plan or an idea moving forward. I graduated and I was split between working and going to grad school. So I didn't really make up my mind and toyed with both. I was fortunate enough to be afforded time with the Air Force to work after graduation, but then I would later change my mind and divert from that towards grad school. I wish I had known prior to graduation that I was going to attend a graduate program, and then I would have better prepared, which would have saved me time. So if you are planning or have even an idea or consideration to plan grad school, I think it would behoove you to look into what's required and start taking those classes now, so you aren't like Carlo and I and have to reattend at, say, a community college or a different school in the meantime to acquire the necessary skills to attend.
All right, thank you. Next question for Adam. Do you have any advice for students who want to pursue a master's in accounting? And how did you choose Indiana University?
My advice to any student who wants to pursue a master's in accounting is to find a program that best fits your needs. Do you want to enroll full-time and get it done quickly? Do you want to work and enroll part-time? Do you want to be online or in person? Or if you just want to meet the CPA requirements of 150 credit hours, a master's may not even be the best option for your given situation. I chose Indiana University because they have a reputable business school, and most importantly, they offered a program that worked well with my budget and my schedule. The specific program I completed was one online class every 3 months. It took 2.5 years, but I was able to work full-time during the day and do my schoolwork in the evenings. So the process felt a bit long, but it worked well for my situation. So my advice would be find a program that fits your needs.
Thank you. We'll now go into general questions for each panelist. I'll begin with Francesca and we'll go down the order again. So the first question for everyone is, what professional role did you find they enjoyed the least?
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you.
What professional role did you find that you enjoyed the least?
What did you say? Sorry.
Which professional role did you find that you enjoyed the least? Which do you not like about one of your applications? Please enjoy.
So what professional role did you find that you enjoyed the least? Is that the question?
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I would say probably my accounting role. That is just something that I just really didn't want to go into. After grad school, I really realized that I want to do data analytics. And I know right now I'm in financial analytics, but it's still helpful at the end of the day. Well, whether I want to transition to a data analytics job, it is gonna help with my future. It's like compared to accounting, it wasn't as helpful. But I do think any sort of experience is beneficial at the end of the day, because you might learn how to work in the workplace, how to work with a team member, because that's something that you might think that everyone might know how to do, but some people don't. Like, you might find it strange, but in the real world, some people, like, you might not be able to work with everyone perfectly. So I find any sort of experience, any sort of teamwork activities really help in the future. So all my experience, I think, were beneficial at the end of the day, but for what path I want to do, I would say the least beneficial for me was my accounting internship. Did that answer the question?
Answer the question perfectly. Personally, I like accounting. I'll get the question. So the open floor, I guess either Jessica or Tom or Adam. Do you have any personal expectations for yourself, even outside of school?
I guess going back to one of the questions prior about kind of like setting boundaries and advocating for yourself, I make it really important to myself to make sure I always have time for myself outside of work, you know, to spend on however I'd like, because especially in my industry, you know, as a financial advisor, you're always on, you're always doing something. Your days could start at 6 a.m. and end at 1 a.m. Or they could be, very short days. It really does depend. So I always want to make sure I make time specifically for myself. So I, of course, don't get burnt out just like I was when I was a student.
This question can be answered by anyone. What are the day-to-day activities at work like for you?
Was this for me?
Yeah, you can answer it.
What was the question? I'm sorry, it's a little tough to hear.
What are the day-to-day activities that work like for you?
My day-to-day activities. So I'd say in the morning, check emails, make a plan for the day, get in touch with all the other members of my team, figure out who's working on what. And then that's how the morning starts. And the afternoon is, you get to work, auditing some financial statements, doing some testings. And then we reconvene at the end of the day, pass things on to the reviewer, ask any questions, and see if they have any comments, and then start it all over again the next day, clear those comments in the morning, and then move on to the next one.
Next general question, anybody can answer. Are the demographics at your firm diverse? Are there any various backgrounds and age groups you can learn from?
I'd say the company I work for is very large, and they put a big emphasis on diversity and inclusion. There's committees and clubs people can join, and they put on events. Just last week, I went to a event put on by the Latino Inclusion Network at my company. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of good things.
Thank you. Next set of question. What class or coursework at Oneonta do you feel you're most grateful to work?
I'd have to second Francesca and say Fed Challenge. Absolutely.
You must take that challenge. That's
If that hasn't been drilled into your head at this point,
I'm actually wearing the shirt, so
doing that again.
It's just overall, like that class specifically, it helps you with not only just knowing so much about the economy and having it drilled into your brain, it really helps you with public speaking. I used to be someone that absolutely hated public speaking. I was so nervous, so anxious, and that class really forces you to be good at public speaking at the end of the day. And whether you're a presenter or not a presenter, you will be good at public speaking, and it will help you in the future. So I just really recommend taking that class because, like I said before, I'm asked all the time on interviews just about it because they think it's the coolest thing ever that you get to go to the Federal Reserve and talk to them. So I really recommend taking that class. Just, I can't emphasize it enough. And plus Dr. Story is the teacher.
And we're going to go to Q&A for the audience. So if the audience has a question, they can ask it now.
Doing all that at once.
Okay, that's fine. So we're going to move on to our next question we have. So our next question is we're going to ask about the experience in Fed Challenge or senior seminar. So if you were a senior seminar class, what was your project on and how was your experience in the class?
My experience in senior seminar was, I really loved the class because, like I said before, it was a very public speaking oriented course. You always had to go up in front of your professors and always had to go up in front of your classmates and speak. And it was also a class that you became very close with all the other students within the class. We would always present to each other in the library nonstop and always ask each other questions. So I really think that was like very helpful. And it was also, even though it was a very individualized class, it was still, you work together as a team.
Okay, and then Jess, you want to answer the same question?
I'm sorry. What was the question? I didn't hear it.
How was your experience in senior seminar? Was it a project like, or if I challenge you to answer either one? How's your experience in either box?
I believe the question was, what was my experience with senior seminar or Fed challenge? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually didn't take senior seminar, but obviously my experience with Fed Challenge was wonderful with Dr. Story. Can't advocate enough for individuals to take that class. And for all the reasons, of course, Francesca had stated, but of course, I think the practical application of Fed Challenge can't be understated, like the practical use of those skills that you build, as well as, you know, the collaboration you have with team members, of the aggregation of data, as well as, you know, being able to eloquently talk about a sophisticated topic. All of those things, you know, are not commonly seen, you know, in career level, or I should say career entry, upon individuals graduating, and interviewers are very much impressed by that. So being able to not only show those skills, but build upon those skills, you know, is essential when you get into the workforce.
I'd just like to add that even if you never use, unfortunately, say you never use any of the economics in senior seminar, just the public speaking experience alone is invaluable. I use that every day, basically. So.
And then Adam, if you want to answer the same question.
I don't think he took either one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I did not participate in the Fed Challenge or a senior seminar.
Okay.
Regrettably.
And is there any courses from Oneonta that helped you the most professional career?
I think he asked Adam, what course did you like the most at Oneonta?
I really liked my microeconomics course. My accounting course went pretty well. I'd say there's a couple of fashion courses I took with Professor Barton, who he was a great professor. So maybe take advantage of some of the electives and just broaden your horizons, become a more well-rounded individual, and you can learn a lot. So I'd say my economics courses, my accounting courses, and then those fashion courses I took with Professor Barton.
Thank you very much. Before you have any beyond that, I guess, any experiences during your undergraduate career that helped guide decision making that has led you to your current day position?
I think one of the most helpful experiences during my undergraduate career was the utilization of the Career Development Center. I feel like this department is widely underutilized, And you can go there day one, as a freshman and have your resume looked over. They are so eager to help you and watch you succeed and get you connected with alumni, get you connected with people that, can help you throughout your career. So if you show initiative, they'll be more than happy to, propel you where you want to go. So don't hesitate to step foot in there. They're a really wonderful team and they're really working in your best interest.
Just to go off of that, I really think it is important to go to all the alumni events and take a moment to, after the events, right now it's Zoom, it's different, but if the person is in person, take the time to introduce yourself and everything along those lines. It's very helpful. And plus you'd get noticed. And also don't be afraid to reach out to people on LinkedIn, and especially alumni, they are willing to help. I messaged someone the other day and they were like, "Oh, an Oneonta alum, of course I'll help you." And that's just how everyone from Oneonta is. Everyone's willing to help each other. So don't be afraid to ask, or just say hi if you want advice on anything. So just.
Thank you very much. The Oneonta family is very strong. I would again like to open it up against the floor for any Q&A. Just if anybody has any questions, it could be about previous roles, like the previous accounting role, anything related to their school. Any questions at all? If not, I can ask another one.
I just want to ask, what advice do you have for across graduate?
The question was, do you have any advice for a graduate transitioning as a full-time student to a full-time career? Anyone can answer this.
I would just say, take it one day at a time and understand that it's going to be different. It's going to be very different. And anyone that tells you otherwise, that it's going to be easy right out of college, is wrong. It's going to, definitely be an adjustment at first, but enjoy the journey because where it'll take you will be fantastic.
Thank you very much. And anyone else have any questions? Could be to any for the members. What are your thoughts on going into the graduate? So the question was, what are your thoughts on going from straight to a graduate program or straight to work right after school?
For me, it was, I graduated right during the pandemic. So I graduated 2020 and that's when everything kind of happened. So for me, I just wanted to go straight to grad school. I didn't want to waste my time and maybe I wasn't going to get a job. I didn't know what was going on with the economy, but I knew grad school was something I could always do. So I personally went to graduate school, but I see it both ways. I was originally going to wait and gonna learn and go in my career maybe a year or two and then go back. But honestly, I'm very happy the way I did it. And I'm happy that I went to graduate school and I was still in the school grind of learning, and then I didn't have to take a break and then come back. So I think it depends on each individual.
That too, but it also depends on what you want to do. If you can get the position that you'd like based on just your bachelor's degree alone that you currently have, then there really isn't a point in spending time and money on a graduate program as well.
All very important things to keep in mind. Thank you for the responses. Any other questions?
What advice would you give to your college self?
And the question was, what advice would you give to your college self?
Stop stressing.
Very relatable. Any other advice?
I'd say this relates to the prior question was, if I could go back in time, I would have switched my major to professional accounting, because after I graduated, I had no plans to get a master's degree. But the first role I took after college was an accounting role, and I really liked it. I decided it was something I wanted to pursue, and that led me to get a master's degree. So if I could go back in time, I'd be an accounting major from the jump.
I'd probably tell myself to have a better plan, but that's kind of hard to say because I would have spent or started preparing for grad school earlier if I had a better plan.
Kind of going back to the prior question, I'd tell myself to do a little bit more research. Originally, when I had graduated, I thought I was going to go to grad school, like no questions asked. And then, upon actually starting in my industry, I realized that I had to take all these exams to get all my financial advising licenses, which took me an entire year to do. So I definitely needed no more education after that because I probably would have screamed. So do more research for sure.
Mine would probably be the opposite of Tom's. Mine would probably be like, don't worry about having a plan. I felt like I tried to plan everything. So I was going to do this, this, this. And I realized that not everything happens the way you think it's going to happen. And there's going to be bumps in the road. So I would probably just be like, stop stressing. Don't really worry about having a plan. It will all work out at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. And as we can see, even without talking about the time, I think this time worked out very well for you all. If anyone else has any other questions, related to any of the other. Any questions at all? So I have a personal question.
How long after college?
So the question was, how long after college did it really take you to land that first job that you left? Open to anyone.
As I had stated before, I was fortunate enough to have an internship during my summer of my senior year. So just the way it ended up happening because of COVID, when we had all gotten sent home, my firm that I had interned at actually found out because I kept connections with them. I stayed up to date with them, followed up with them, that I had gotten sent home, and they actually offered me a job during my last semester. So I actually was thankful enough to have my job when I was taking Fed Challenge. So that was very interesting.
For me, it was a little different because I went straight to grad school. While I was in grad school, I was just messaging everyone on my LinkedIn network. And I recommend that 100%. Just not even in a sense, like, can you get me a job? More of a sense, like, I just want to learn more. Like, how did you get your job? Because like, what did you do? Like, what qualities do you have that led you to this job at Google? Or for me, while I was in grad school, I worked at a golf course, and the golf course I worked at, like, the CEO of Yahoo Sports worked there. So I talked to him all the time. And then a head of a fashion magazine would come all the time. So I like kind of met a lot of people, and they kind of gave me like ins and outs of who I should talk to, how I should like navigate through LinkedIn. And they gave me some advice as well, which was very helpful. So through all of that, it just kind of ended up happening. So I wouldn't say it's one thing. It just was kind of a lot of networking and talking to a lot of people.
The question repeated.
What's that?
Couldn't hear it.
Oh, for Tom, the question was, how long did it really take after you graduated to land that first job? A couple of weeks, a couple of months, right after college?
This is for me, and how long did it take for me to land my job?
Yeah, really land, I guess.
Well,
job.
I enlisted before I was at SUNY Oneonta, and that's where I have been working in my free time. So I didn't graduate and then apply around because I've just worked through the guard the entire time.
Thank you very much. If anyone else has any questions, any other questions? So a personal question I had for Francesca was that you stated that you didn't really like accounting because you didn't really like the field, but I have to ask, maybe if it's personal, what? Was it just the field? Was it the management? Was it the company? Was it the amount of work? Just what particular aspect drove you really to make that transition?
Yeah, when it came to accounting, actually, so the internship I had was my friend's dad was the CFO of the company. It was a nursing home nearby. He was the CFO and was like, "You want an internship?" And that's kind of all how it worked out. And then I took it. There was actually a couple factors. I knew I didn't want to work in healthcare from that internship, as well as I personally just it just wasn't for me. Accounting was never like, I didn't really care for my accounting courses in college. I didn't find it interesting, but that's just my personal opinion. It's like it could be interesting, it might be good for someone else, but I liked the more analytics route. So I still liked working with numbers, but I like to know, why are these numbers there and what are you doing with them? So like my internship, we were looking at numbers, seeing is at the time it was 2019, and the Fed predicted that in 2020 there was going to be a recession, ironically. And in my internship, we were seeing if we had a recession, would it affect the company? We were forecasting to see if it would affect the company. And I found that a lot more interesting. So that's kind of why I went around that route, because I like to see the forecast and how things were affected by other things. And I liked more the analytical route. So that's kind of why I went towards that direction. If I didn't have that internship, I probably would have stayed with accounting because that was the only thing I knew. But since I had that internship, it kind of gave me a little more background of what I could do with my finance degree.
Thank you very much. So if you're stealing on the back of your head, telling you don't have the classes, then you should find out if you really do like it. Thank you very much for that response. And anybody else have any questions? Or really be anything that you're curious about? So just another question I'm gonna have to ask. This will just be open to anyone, Jessica, Tom, or Adam. Are you, for work, did any of you have to relocate? Is it remote, or are you all still in the general New York area?
I'm in Akron, Ohio right now. I'm just living with my brother. He's in his last year of medical school. It wasn't for any real reason. It was a bit arbitrary. Just he lived out here, so I moved out with him.
I'm hybrid. I'm in the office. I was in the office 3 days a week, home 2 days, and now I'm home 2 days. I'm in the office 3. I noticed a lot of jobs now are either hybrid or remote. There's a couple, they're not really full on site anymore. But personally, I love on site because I feel like one thing that is hard in my job is I don't really know as many people as I could if I was in office. It took me a lot longer to get to know everybody compared to before COVID. Everyone saw each other every single day. So it has its pros and cons, but I think for right now, every job is either hybrid or remote.
So that's all the questions we have. If anyone else has a question, asking now. But if not, I would like to thank panelists for coming, sharing their roles and how they've gotten through college and professional roles. And also like to thank my Igor for asking questions. Yeah, thank you all for coming.